What's up, guys? Today's video is all about this, the cedar wrap. Alright, this is the cedar wrap that came around the Punch cigar, the tubos that I recently did a video on. And a lot of times when cigars do come in tubes like this, you do get a piece of cedar that's lined on the inside of the tube. On occasion, you'll also get a cigar that just has this wrapped around the cigar itself. So you might find it, you know, in the store just like this, and then inside like a cellophane or something. So here's the debate. What is this for? There's three different ideas as to the purpose of this cedar. And this is literally a very thin piece of real cedar wood, all right, that's dried out. And obviously, because it's so thin, you're able to, you know, turn it into a little tube, all right, so you can use it for liners. So what I thought this was for was to flavor the cigar. A lot of different cigars have a natural wood flavor in them, and I had thought that by lining tubes on cigars or wrapping cigars with this and aging it would actually impart that wood flavor into the tobacco. That's what I thought. That's something I heard many years ago, read somewhere. I don't know where I got the information, but that what was in my brain. So when I did my recent video on the Punch cigar, there was a couple comments and people were talking about how you can light the cigars with cedar strips. I thought, oh, that's really interesting. My initial thought was, well, if the cigar does not have a woody flavor naturally, that it might, you know, mess with the flavors of the cigar. If you have something that's like really, you know, cocoa-y or you know, really earthy, that you would impart those wood flavors by doing that. So I got really curious about this. What is the real purpose of this? Well, what I wanted to do was, since this is on a Punch cigar, I wanted to contact Punch, but I wanted to do it today and I couldn't find a phone number. On their website they have like a message thing you can do. And I mean, that's really the best thing, is to actually contact the people who are making the cigars and say, hey, why'd you put that in there? What's the purpose of it? But because I couldn't contact them today or right away for this video, I ended up calling Cigars International, which is a huge dealer for cigars. They sell thousands and thousands of different cigars, a lot of them having these inserts. So I talked to a very nice woman at Cigars International, and she said this was actually somewhat of a common question. People do call and ask about this. The purpose behind these has nothing to do with the flavor. She says, although it may have a small influence, it's not the purpose. The purpose of these inside the tubes is to steady the humidification of the cigar. That is all. If it gets too moist, the wood will absorb that moisture, and vice versa. If it gets a little bit too dry, some of the moisture from the wood will impart back into the cigar. So that is its actual true purpose. However, I want to try something, because I also heard a third purpose for these, and that is for lighting. And the idea here was that when you want to light your cigar, you will wrap this around the cigar and leave a little bit of a tail. You want it sticking up just a little bit past the cigar. And when you light it, you're not lighting the cigar, you're lighting the wood, and the wood will be lit completely in a circle, and as you puff on it, it's going to supposedly light the foot of the cigar perfectly. So in theory, it sounds right? You have fire available to you. You know, instead of holding a match there, it's holding it for you, essentially. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to see if this works. Now, the cedar itself, it has a very, very, very faint smell. Sometimes when you have fresh cut cedar, it's very strongly scented. Because this is so thin, because it's so old, it doesn't have a really pungent aroma. I'm curious to see if I taste that on the light. Not that it would matter all that much, but if you're smoking something that does not have a woody flavor, you'd want to know that by lighting it this way, it's not going to impart that flavor into the cigar. So I'm very curious to see if this works, and if it does work, if I can taste the wood. Now, of course, this is only for the light. You don't want to smoke the wood. In other words, some people, I know this sounds crazy, but some people don't, you know, people don't know. You don't know something until you know it, right? I know that sounds kind of dumb, but if you really think about it, that's everyone's. Everyone's knowledge is based upon what you've heard and what you've learned from experience and from word of mouth your entire life. So if you know nothing about cigars and you get a cigar from the store that's wrapped in wood, some people, although very few, just light it and they smoke the cigar with the wood on it. They're smoking the wood with the cigar, which is definitely not what you want to do. So don't do that. But for a lighting method, I'm very curious to see if this works. So I have here a Gurkha Raptor. I've smoked a few of these in the past, and I'm going to try to light it with this method. So I have it wrapped around the cigar. I have a little wood poking out. Let's do like about a ½ inch. Alright, so if you can see the cigar ends there. I'm going to light this with a match. And I'm just lighting the wood, and once the wood's lit, I'll puff away until the cigar's lit. So let's see how this works out. I'm going to use matches to light the wood. Now a lot of times the actual wrap is taped. Because it's not taped and because this is not the original cigar I was around, I'm just kind of holding it. Let's see if this works. Very curious about this. Alright, here we go. Somewhat toasted. No, not lit. Alright, that didn't work. So let's try this again a different way. I'm going to leave more wood sticking out. This is more like an inch. I'm going to light the wood first. When I can physically see it's lit, then I'll bring it up to my mouth and try to start the cigar. Alright? Because the first attempt at doing that, the fire was too far from the cigar before it went out. Alright, so let's try this a different way. So I'm just lighting the wood. Now that that is lit and burning towards the cigar, let's try to light the cigar this way. That worked. I have a perfectly lit cigar. Now, that's interesting. I can tell you that I don't taste the wood on any of those puffs. I did not taste the actual cedar itself, just the cigar tobacco, but that is lit perfectly even on the inside of the foot. Very, very interesting. I want to say it would take a little bit of practice, but it really doesn't. I just did it the wrong way the first time. If it's even away. I mean, I would say this is probably rare. I think most people just take it off and throw it out and light a cigar how they normally would. So that's to say I'm pretty surprised that actually worked. Definitely not the purpose for these, but it is a functional option, I suppose. So did you know about this? That's the first question for all you guys out there smoking cigars. Did you know about this? Is this something you already do? And if you never heard about it before, because you watched this video, are you going to try it? And if you do try it, come back and comment what you thought on this video. But I just want to say thank you to everyone who comments on the videos. A very common message I'll get from people in general when they first discover my videos is, oh, thanks, I learned so much watching your videos. And I'm really happy to hear that. But to be honest, I learned just as much from you guys, just commenting and interacting with me and sending messages. And I mean, I learn stuff pretty much weekly. Brand new things I never knew about. So I get back just as much as I'm putting into this. So I really appreciate it. It's one of the reasons why I love YouTube so much. Not only just the nice people here, but education. I love learning about things, especially, hobbies I'm interested in. I've been smoking cigars for a few years, and I never heard of this before. I posted that video, mentioned about, lighting with matches as opposed to lighters, and it got into this conversation, and I learned some stuff, so it's pretty cool. So I'm going to sit back, enjoy the rest of this cigar. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.